Hello everyone, my name is Madukpe Shoyemi, and today we will be talking about ideas surrounding the supervision for the improvement of instruction. So, what should be the main goal of teacher supervision? Well, if we look at the diagram, we see that there is an intertwining between supervision, leadership, the school climate, teacher behaviors, which directly has an impact on student behaviors, which directly has an impact on student achievement. So, at the end of the day, teacher supervision is not about ostracizing teachers, judging them, or critiquing them, but it's engaging them in a feedback and reflective practice so that they can improve upon their teaching practices, which in turn will have a positive impact on student achievement. So, as we look at the current supervision models available at Pathways Prep, it usually follows the following steps. So, there's a pre observation conference, also known as the initial planning conference. The supervisor and the teacher discuss goals in terms of a teaching practice that the teacher wants to work on for the school year, followed by a classroom observation where the supervisor comes in to observe the teacher in a classroom setting. Then, a post observation conference takes place where the supervisor goes through a written report with the teacher, and the supervisor and the teacher brainstorm next steps to improve upon at least 2 or 3 teaching practices that can be worked on. And then, of course, there is a continued follow-up where the supervisor may perform a couple of unannounced visits to continue to provide the teacher with continued feedback based on what was discussed during the observation conference. So in this course, we've discussed a number of supervision models. Number one being Danielson, which is a very popular one. It's a teacher evaluation tool, has 22 components, consists of 4 domains, and we can see the assessment criteria here: unsatisfactory, basic, proficient, and distinguished. Next, we have the Marzano model, also another teacher evaluation tool. It has 60 components, 4 domains, slightly different and also slightly similar to Danielson. Rubric categories include innovating, applying, developing, beginning, and not using. Then we have some observation tools. So one is the Downey walkthrough. It includes a 5-step observation structure in which you can read the individual steps. And it does not include an evaluated rubric, but it's a great way to include guiding questions that allow supervisors to give specific feedback to a teacher. And then another observation tool we have is being a deliberate observer. Again, it is not an evaluative rubric, it's an observation tool. It allows the supervisor to write and gather detailed notes based on what they observe in the classroom. So in the past couple of weeks, I've been engaging in teacher discussions and observations with a chosen colleague of mine, Ms. James, a living environment teacher. So during week 1 and 3, we discussed past observation experiences. We examined the Danielson and Marzano models together, and I also reviewed a lesson plan for an upcoming lesson that she was going to do. During week 4 and 5, I performed 2 walkthroughs in her classroom, and I also performed a formal observation of her classroom where I stayed the whole period. And then week 6, I conducted a post-observation conference with my teacher colleague to discuss what I saw during that formal observation. Now, one of the things that me and my chosen colleague, Ms. James, have discussed in our discussions is that one of the things she appreciates in the observation process is being able to have an outside person with an outside perspective give her some suggestions and ideas, and basically tell her what they see when they're in her classroom, that things that she may not see. So my proposed supervision plan is instructional rounds, allowing teachers to see other teachers in action to teach. So the plan would be to have a selection of a teacher group. Teacher group can consist of teachers of similar subject or grades or variant subjects and grades. Teacher group will observe one of their colleagues in a classroom setting, usually maybe an expert teacher in one teaching practice or another. Then the teacher group will debrief, discuss their observations and findings solely based on evidence they collected during the observation. This is not used to critique the teacher they observed. And next steps will be each teacher will adopt a strategy or technique that they would like to personally implement, and this can be a point of focus for their own upcoming teacher observation evaluation. Relating it to the mission, if we can just focus on these 3 words at the bottom: respect. Teachers want to be respected and trusted to do their jobs. They have the responsibility to improve upon their practice, again, to improve student achievement, and of course resilience, because we know that this process is not easy, but it's one that we must continue to do if we want to grow professionally. So one of the data that can be collected can be from the Downey walkthrough protocol. These are the things that the teacher group will be writing down as they are doing those instructional rounds. And then the expected results and next steps, teachers being able to debrief is very critical. They will discuss their findings. Each teacher mentions one strategy they would like to take away and implement into their own teaching practice. This can be, again, a focus goal for their next individual teacher evaluation. And the goal will be for every teacher in the building to have participating in at least 2 instructional rounds during their entire school year. Thank you for listening, and a special thank you to Ms. James, the living environment teacher I worked with, Mr. Lucas Rule, the assistant principal, Sister Marianne Jacobs, Sister Remedia, and Dr. Donahue, the facilitators of this course, and of course my classmates from this course who allowed me to rub minds together, and I learned a lot from. Thank you.